those are our movements. Let's take this all the way back to the beginning and put it all together into a set. We're almost there to the full set. We're one movement short of a full set now. Here we come into our starting position, stepping out to the left, rocking motion. I will recommend that you always come into this work with curiosity. It's the best way of softening up the effects of habit. So for example, after everything we've just done, re-entry into rocking motion is going to be a little bit different. Some things may be a little bit more open, some things may feel like they're a little too open. Just start again from your grounding. Connecting with your hands to the heavy air, your feet moving gently in weight transfer across the ground. And you'll often find that the more you open up, the more you have to slow down to get that sense of engagement that will help ground that charge. Okay, we're going to sink into that right foot and up we come. Bird flaps its wings, gathering that charge. Release as your heels slightly lift. Release. And the third time round. And in. There's a great way of taking any of that kind of lots of energy moving feeling and just kind of letting it move out. It's like one of several places in this series where you get that chance. And one last time to release and in, release and in, and come out in a round opening, opening, and up, and graceful resting position. Now our first forward stepping, platter, sinking into that right foot. Left foot steps out and forward over the front foot. And then just look for your engagements. Like this is the new part of this, of course, is through the ball of, through the heels of your hand, but also it's a different contact across your feet, a different sense of engagement with your lower back as it arches and straightens. Just letting that work into you. And then as you do that, you have a chance to start to get a feel of why am I here? How am I inhabiting this particular moment? What is my sense of intention as a whole organism moving through space? We'll come around 2 more times. And back. And the second side. Forward. There's so much deliciousness that's available in these movements. And as you go through them, you'll start to notice there's just a little bit to soak up in places where maybe as your hands trail back, or you feel how your neck starts to open, your shoulders start to be affected, that you just start to let in a little bit more into your sense of self. do 2 more. Forward and back, and 1 more time around. And back. And sinking into your right foot again as you come up to the platter variation. So that the quietness, the sense of stillness that's there in life just has a chance to awaken within you. We'll do 2 more. And forward the last time, and back. Here we go. Gather that charge, let it trail back. So it's just a gentleness that starts to seep in so that you start getting into that sense that's sometimes described as Tai Chi Cha doing Tai Chi Cha, just moving through you as you start to join with it. We'll do 2 more. And back. Now the bass drum. So once again, you have a different place to explore engagement through these flatter hands meeting with each other. And then to just also notice how in this particular movement, it really starts to bring the sense of connection through the center that we're going to pick up on in subsequent movements. And here we go, 2 more. And last time around, forward and back. Step back just a bit and sink into your second side. Just keep on looking for the stillness. What's the pace that lets you drop into that sense of stillness in the midst of the movement? And just letting your body have its movement. Within the form, there is the living being of you. And so to be asking yourself, how does it want to go? Just freeze up those habitual constraints a little bit and let your body find the best pathway that's available to it in this moment. And 2 more. And back. Great. And now, daughter on the mountaintop, opening the hands, feeling how that opens in your body, stepping forward, and then left hand on the inside. And as you start to get the sense of how these movements work for you, this opening and engagement, bringing around, crossing and drawing down, there is this larger piece which is so important about what's available to you, is the feeling that you are joining with others as you do this, that there's a community of movement, that just like wind blows grass in a field, there's something of connection, of voices moved together like a choir that allows the energy to be even more powerfully effective. So just to see if you can kind of match yourself with how I'm moving, and to hold that sense that all through our world, our internet world, you're just getting connected to community that's gathering energy and dropping into the stillness within it. And we'll come around one more time so that we all support each other, and then come to closing. And the more you let yourself have that feel that you're in a connected place, a community place, the stronger the effects of this work will be for you. And then let's try the second side. So that the intentionality is not just something that's within your own space, which is very important, that sense of how am I being present to this movement, but also how am I being present to the sense of connection around me throughout the world. We'll do one more. And back. And then daughter in the valley, opening upward, stepping forward, down, and gathering that energy and drawing it up through the center again. It's kind of a very more specific way of connecting that was first awakened with the bass drum. With this added piece that it opens the charge that you bring through the center. And one more time around. And then coming to the second side. This is yet another place where each movement starts to educate us and deepen us a little bit more in contrast to the next movement. So this is a lovely place where the movement of connecting and then releasing with your hands can be an education later on with joyous breath, where there's much stronger connection through the arms and hands. And so to just let your hands feel the connection with this charge at a more gentle level, and to notice where tensions that might have been hidden in your movement that are awakened with joyous breath have a chance to just feel themselves. And then joining a little bit more consciously with the movement, we'll come around one more time, have a chance to start to find a pathway to resolution without being fixed. So now we're going to carry the ball to the side. So I'll just come a little bit off to the side and up and across. Backhand a little more substantial. And third time, and then we come up with that back foot. Pause, and again. So that gradually, any place where there's a little bit of a stutter in the movement, you're gradually starting to find how you can smooth that out. And sometimes when you come to a place where you stutter, like maybe here where your foot comes in, you might find even on your own, just to come back through it and slow it down, or even sometimes to just wait at the edge of that movement where you start feeling a force pushing you through something, that just sitting at the edge of it and exploring the sensations, that gradually something in your body will relax or change, and then coming up and in, and we'll just start to move you through those stuck points, and then back the other way. Backhand a little more substantial. So there's all kinds of ways you can correct yourself, but often the most long-lasting and effective ways are to let your body self-correct itself by just being gently present to the sensory edge of a tension or an effort, and slowing down and letting it become more aware of itself and make its own shifts. How does it want to go? This new movement that's highlighting the restrictions, and then up and in, and one more time, winding up and across, across, all as a community, and across and up and in, so that your movements are being helped and lifted by the feel that others are moving with you at the same time. And now the push-pull. Sinking and rising with your hands. Rising through the center. Wrists moving into the circles of return at the beginning and the end. Letting that back hand be just a little bit more substantial. Meeting the challenge of this particular movement of perhaps leaning forward a bit much by really bringing your focus a bit more to leading with your dantian. Perhaps every once in a while checking with your knee to make sure it doesn't go ahead of your toes. And then just coming back to the feel. What's it like to be a little bit more in this place? And we'll come around one more time. And back. And then the second side, up. So now the left hand is the backhand, a little more substantial. So while we may have been thinking initially of our hands as being the contact with that heavy air, at a certain point it's like your whole body can be held by that sense of the energetic movement and awareness around you, that your whole body is moving through that energetic sense of heavy air. And that it helps shape the sense of intentionality in your movement. We'll do two more. And here we go, the last one. Forward and back. And then the pulling in the energy, which is your hands going into like that upside down platter. So just come up with your hands. So it's raising to the air and through the fingertips. Feeling the drawing back through your fingertips as you go around that platter, but with your hands facing the ceiling. This is probably one of the more subtle ways of connecting with that sense of the life force that you're moving through by just getting right through the tips, very tips of your fingers. And then even lighter, feeling like there's a drawing back from the farthest star. An energetic connection as you come back again. And we'll come around one more time. And back. And the second time. Forward over your front leg, back over your back leg. So you always get the sense of what the direction of the platter is. Just feeling that connection through the tips of your fingers. And you might notice the difference, like if you reach out too far as you go forward. With this position, you can really feel the overreach, as if you were serving too far ahead of you rather than coming from your core. And to just get a sense that you're just in your space and opening up a little bit as your hands come forward. And then bringing that back to yourself as you come backwards. One more time. And back and close. How are we doing? Yep, we're good. Okay, so here go our tafis. So leave yourself a little bit of room to go across to the left. Winding up, sweeping with that left hand, and stepping across to the left. And back. sinking and sweeping, stepping across to the left, minimalizing your movement so that if you feel unsteady on the foot that you're coming up on as you close, you just kind of, a little bit of less is more. Egertafi. Turn out in the ball of your foot, forward, then on the heel of your foot you drop in, and here we go, forward and open and close. Now across, wind up and across. Now we're going to wind up to the left. Turn on the ball of your foot, step forward, toe falls in, forward and back, and across. So each part of the movement has got engagement with it. From the center of your body, through your hands, that there's a sense of being in and connecting. Why am I here in this moment? How might I be more present to what this movement brings to me? That's it. And then one last time, forward into the anchor, your heel, your back foot, the heel stays on the ground. That's the anchor part. Although, of course, you get this wonderful sense of anchoring with your hand down the side of your leg as that kind of pivot point that this movement really brings forward. And then forward, toe falls in, anchoring with that back heel, turning as your left hand anchors your movement, and wind up. And one last time across. And close. And wrist circles tafi. So sinking, flat feet all the way down, and then up onto the balls of your feet. Once, twice, and then now you wind up. So you stay down and come across. And close. Slight pause, sink, wind up, or wrist circles. Now you wind up. Pause. And wind up. Cross. And sink. And wind up and back. And just let that soak in. And now we'll do our perpetual motion tafi, so winding up and across. Now I'm going to do 6 of these so that we can make sure that we get you in properly and don't overflow our hour too much. So this is an example of how you can adapt your set, not just by which ones you choose, but how many of the movements you choose. We'll do one more after this. So come back, one more time across. And close. And still keep looking for the stillness. And now light at the top of the head and the temple. Oh, sorry, the pulley. So here we go. Step forward and open. And this is such a good movement for really helping you find the center point in the midst of all this movement that's happening with your arms around you, all the twisting. It's just to start to feel how you can be just in that central space and just letting the movement emphasize that sense of core that happens. We'll come through one more time. So back and then coming around and forward and close. And then the second side. So that as you get all the bits and pieces of this, the coming around the pulleys with your fingers, drawing back with your elbow, that it starts to slowly piece itself together into a sense of a wholeness, just a being here doing this movement. Okay, and we'll come back through one more time. So here we come, forward and back. And then light at the top of the head and the temples. So here's where your feet stay a little bit more like in your regular standing position together. Go down, scoop up that energy up to the top of your head with your feet still flat on the floor. Sink now up onto the balls of your feet. Once out. Really feel that Danchen as the lifting place so you don't overbalance yourself. 3 times, and then you come in and start to turn. Find what you're working with here. What's the intentionality in this? What's it moving towards you? What awakens in your hands? And then hold and connect with that. And then sinking again, up and out, release. Gather it again, up and out. And then the 3rd time as you come in, out and around. Cupping your left hand and your right, coming up to your chest, turning, stopping just for a moment here before you start the second one, sinking and drawing up to your temples. Sinking again, now you're going to come up on the balls of your feet. Once, feeling it from the Danchen, twice, just like wrist circles taffy starts to kind of awaken that awareness. 3 times, flat on your feet as you turn that energy at your temples. Feeling the intentionality in it, what gets awakened. Then holding, feeling what arises in that field that you've awakened. And then sinking again, out, out. And the 3rd time, round, cupping that left hand with the right, coming up, and graceful resting position. Okay. And now the joyous breath. So here we come through to some of the new pieces for us. So stepping out to the left, sinking down again, drawing that charge in. Here's where you start to get that air in the back of your throat and feel the heavy air like you're on some big planet. Drawing in, up onto the balls of your feet, turning and pressing down. And turning again. And one last time. And coming in and closing. Good. Okay. And now we do passing clouds. So don't forget we're going to be going the opposite direction that we normally do. So your left hand comes up, you sink into your left foot, step out to the right, trailing across, and as you come across, now this right hand that's been waiting can come across and trail across with you. And now they take their turns as your torso just turns a little bit at the pelvis and waist. After all that charge movement that happens with joyous breath, this is a real place to go back into integration. To just let yourself feel the support through your feet, the movement of the dantian, the lower back and abdomen, just carry you across so that this movement, instead of being kind of a churning of energy, starts to take you into that sense of calmness, almost like a dream time sense that's inferred with the passing clouds imagery. And we'll come around one more time. So as you come out, this top hand as it comes back is going to wait as the sweeping hand on the bottom helps pick up that foot and bring you in and resting position. And then final integration, let's just take our heel, left heel up onto the right. Let that weight-carrying right leg just soften in the knee, and so that it really allows the connection to the floor that's underneath it to be there. And your pelvis really has a chance to really kind of feel how it can drop into that soft support. And then through the left foot and leg, there's a sense of engaging or supporting that movement that comes up through the soft column of your right leg. And then just feeling how that might connect all the way back into the back of your head, your neck, dropping your chin just a little bit, gazing slightly defocused through those open fingers. And then your inner attention comes back to the dantian so that you've got this circularity that comes up the back of your body and then comes back down the front into the dantian, and then once again is supported through the ground into your legs. So each part, as you awakens to your awareness, has a chance to see how it supports the next part, around and around. And then just coming to a graceful conclusion again, and then just integrating all of that into a bowing, that there's a place for gratitude to move through all this connection and openness. That includes me. Thank you, please, for showing up. It makes all the difference, every one of you.